Okay, so we're going to get into the news now, but before we do, I just want you to know I don't want to do this, okay? You think I want to come out here after a soothing 2-week break from the news with my fresh tan and my unclenched jaw and start screaming about how we're living under an authoritarian regime that's shredding the constitutional order? No. I'd love to talk about something fun like the NFL draft or the new season of Andor or Gwyneth Paltrow announcing that she's eating carbs and cheese again, to which I would like to respond by announcing that I never stopped. Not that anybody gives a about what I eat. Or the next pope possibly being a guy named Pier Battista Pizzaballa, which I think is also one of the foods Gwyneth Paltrow started eating again. The first time I heard that name, I thought it was an anti-Italian slur. Like someone was caught on a hot mic at the conclave saying, they'll never pick him for pope. He's a real Pier Battista Pizzaballa, if you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure Pizzaballa is the blood type listed on Rudy Giuliani's birth certificate. And anyone who's yelling they don't put blood types on birth certificates, they do when you're a vampire. So while we're talking about Pizzaballa, I would love to give a shout out to Pizza Bella, where both me and my brother worked in high school. Still open. Pizza Bella on Route 101 in Bedford, New Hampshire. Tell them the new pope sent you. I love nothing more. I would love nothing more than to continue doing jokes about this Italian cardinal's name, not just because it's fun, but also because it's the only thing my writers handed in today. Hey, boss, did you hear about... I heard. But instead, I have to come out here and talk about how the president is arresting judges and disappearing U.S. citizens and detaining students for their political opinions and defying Supreme Court orders and dismantling Social Security and eliminating food safety inspections and gutting cancer research and threatening Meals on Wheels and allowing measles to spread unchecked and ordering investigations of his political opponents and unleashing total chaos at the Pentagon and sparking widespread market panic and inviting bribes through his personal meme coin and deteriorating mentally to the point where he's confusing Japanese trade negotiators by claiming Japan drops bowling balls on cars. And all I can say is, Madonna mia, pizza balla! For more on this, it's time for a closer look. You guys, we're just about 100 days into the Trump presidency, and Donald Trump is killing it. And by it, I mean his approval ratings.
The latest AP NORC poll finds that 39% approve of how Trump is doing his job, while a whopping 59% disapprove.
A new Fox News poll shows just 33% approve of his handling of tariffs and inflation, while 38% approve of his handling of the economy as a whole. A new Reuters poll found just 37% approve of Trump's job on the economy.
On immigration, a majority of Americans, 53%, disapprove.
His approval rating has been double digits underwater in surveys from the Pew Research Center, where he's minus 19, the Economist YouGov poll, where he's minus 13, the Reuters Ipsos poll, where he's minus 11, and now Fox News, where he is also minus 11.
I mean, these numbers are just horrible. There's no way to sugarcoat it.
A new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll found that President Trump has the lowest 100-day job approval rating of any president in the past 80 years.
Donald Trump is the most unpopular president since Kevin Spacey. His marks on the economy are terrible. His marks on tariff and inflation are terrible. He's even underwater on immigration. That's supposed to be his thing. Trump is so unpopular, he's even managed to break the record of the previous undisputed king of unpopularity, himself.
Trump was already more unpopular at this point in his presidency than any modern president not named Donald Trump. He's now flirting with falling below where he was even at this point in his historically unpopular first term.
And you can see it here. You see the 41%. That is 12 points below Joe Biden. That's 3 points below where he was in his first term. Look at where Obama was, 63%. He's 22 points below that. And George W. Bush at this point in 2001, he is, again, 21 points below. I look back at all of the polling we possibly could long before I was born, and Trump's 41% at 100 days is the worst on record. He has broken his own record for being the worst.
He has broken his own record for being the worst is a damning indictment of Donald Trump, and it also doesn't reflect that well on the rest of us. Who should we get for president? Hey, remember that guy from 4 years ago who was a disaster? Is he avail? Also, can we go back to this?
I look back at all of the polling we possibly could long before I was born.
Yeah, we get it. You're young. Little showbiz advice for you. Don't make that your hook. We all used to be young. I mean, look at this fresh-faced baby boy. That was before Donald Trump came along and I started looking like the guy in a horror movie who says, if you go in there, you're gonna die. Part of me is afraid we're doomed to repeat this pattern forever. Trump will go into exile, then people will forget why they hated him, and then he'll come back, and people will immediately hate him again, and he'll go away, and then he'll come back, and so on until the year 3000 when a pollster is on TV saying Donald Trump has broken his previous record, which broke 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 his previous record for being the worst. In fact, latest polling shows his popularity is just him. Americans love voting for Donald Trump and then immediately regretting it. It's like our national pastime. We treat Donald Trump like he's a third slice of pizza. We make him president, and then an hour later, we're all in bed saying, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, my belly's one pizza ball. That's what it means. Of course, the people who should be reflecting about how they let this happen are Democrats who acknowledge that what the Trump administration is doing is an unprecedented constitutional crisis.
President Trump is violating rule of law in every way.
Yes, exactly. Like his repressive shakedown of colleges and universities. What are you guys doing about that?
We sent him a very strong letter just the other day asking 8 very strong questions.
Is this a constitutional crisis or a Jane Austen novel? The guy doesn't even read his presidential daily briefing. You think he's sitting by the mailbox waiting for a letter from Chuck Schumer? If your neighbor is blasting house music at 2 a.m., you don't write him a letter. You pound on the wall till he stops. We sent him a very strong letter with 8 very strong questions, and we said, pop quiz, Mr. Trump. And if he gets them wrong, we're going to say tisk tisk. And then we're going to give him a D- on his report card. Unfortunately, we can't give him an F because the last time we did, he drew a line and he turned it into an A. And we said, oh, shucks. He tricked us again. By the way, I'm not the only one who's skeptical of this letter-writing strategy from Democrats. Listen to Dana Bash's response.
Well, you'll let us know if you get a response to that letter.
That's a brutal deadpan. It's a Dan pan. She might as well have said, bless your heart. If Trump was funny, he'd write back to Schumer telling him he was about to write him back. Chuck, just got your letter, so sorry. Guess it got messed up with the other mail. Gonna get back to you ASAP on all 8 questions. Just don't want to rush it, as I can tell you took a lot of time with yours and want to repay you with the same thoughtfulness and kind. In the future, to make sure your correspondence reaches me as quickly as possible, please make sure to wad him into a ball and stick him directly up your own ass. Best, Don. That said, there are Democrats who seem to be meeting the moment, like Chris Van Hollen, who flew to El Salvador and succeeded in meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, or Cory Booker, who spoke on the Senate floor for a record 25 hours to protest Trump's policies. AOC and Bernie Sanders, who have been amassing record crowds in places like Idaho and Montana on their Fighting Oligarchy tour. Although apparently some Democrats are nitpicking their word choice.
Let me ask you about something that your colleague, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, said. She said Democrats should stop using the term oligarchy because it's a phrase that doesn't resonate with all Americans. Are you missing a chance to speak to a wider audience, Senator?
Well, geez, we had 36,000 people out in Los Angeles, 34,000 people in Colorado. We had 30,000 people in Folsom, California, which is kind of a rural area. I think the American people are not quite as dumb as Ms. Slotkin thinks they are.
Bernie is the tough love guidance counselor who believes in us. He should do his next speech sitting backwards on a chair in a high school classroom. Listen up, America. I know you're not as dumb as people think you are. You just need to apply yourself, start showing up to class, and stop smoking weed under the bleachers with those losers. Also, Democrats. Now is not the time to nitpick the messaging of other Democrats. Instead of critiquing someone else's message, go out there and do your own thing and give voters the choice they were deprived of this last election. Take a cue from the ones who are actually going out there doing and getting attention for it. Because if there's one thing Donald Trump is good at, it's getting attention. Nobody knew what the Hunter's laptop was, but then he just said it over and over again until eventually every uncle at Thanksgiving finally stopped talking about Hillary's server. Maybe That's why Bernie is the perfect kryptonite to Trump. He's never going to have a technology Trump could pin on him. I mean, laptop, server, Bernie, get real. The only signal Bernie uses is 2 fingers when he's trying to get the check from the waiter. Over here. Nope, we do not want to hear about the dessert specials. We're ready to go. And unlike Trump, Democrats have the benefit of not having to make up to get attention. You can just shock people by reading actual headlines, like 2-year-old U.S. citizen appears to have been deported with no meaningful process, or Trump cuts threaten agency running Meals on Wheels, or FDA making plans to end its routine food safety inspections. Which brings us to a new segment called Who Asked for This? We're cutting food safety inspections now? Who asked for this? Seriously, I'm asking even the most pro-Trump MAGA fanatics in the country, is this what you voted for? Did you really want to make food poisoning great again? I remember seeing people at the Trump rallies dressed up as the Wall or Uncle Sam, but I don't remember anyone wearing an E. coli costume. I mean, seriously, who asked for this? I know RFK Jr. had a brain worm from some bad meat he ate, but I didn't think he was hoping to facilitate that for the rest of us. Although, if I do get a brain worm from some unexpected meat, I'm definitely going to let him co-host the show with me. You're grossed out now, but wait until you hear him sing. Pizza ball. This has been Who Asked for This? You could use Who Asked for This both on stopping the FDA inspections and also the singing worm. No one has given any explanation for why we're cutting cancer research or meals for seniors or food inspections. Of course, the real answer is that billionaires are carving up the government for themselves so they can profit off public services. But the president can't even give us fake coherent answers because he's either too checked out or too fried. Like on trade negotiations with China, for example. He either doesn't know or won't reveal what his own administration is doing.
Question on China. Can you clarify with whom the U.S. is speaking with China? They're saying it's fake news that trade talks are happening.
Well, they had a meeting this morning, so I can't tell you. It doesn't matter who they is.
It doesn't. If it doesn't matter, then why can't you tell us? He's literally doing the my girlfriend goes to a different school defense on tariffs. I can't tell you her name or what school she goes to, and it doesn't matter. All that matters is we boink a lot. We boink. And when he's asked about the major world events, Trump seems equally clueless and confused.
There was a car bomb in Moscow this morning that killed a Russian general. Do you have any reaction to that? Any impact? Talking on what? Russian general.
No, I just heard you just tell me that for the first time. Where did this take place?
Moscow. He literally just said it. Also, here's a clue, Russian general. You didn't have a first guess of where off that? You sound like my mom watching a Christopher Nolan movie. Which one is that one? Is she fake or real? And what dream level is this? And is this in the past or the future? I give Trump an F for listening comprehension, but I know how he'd play it. But you can see Trump's brain deteriorating in real time. For example, he sat down for an interview with Time magazine on his first 100 days. Here's a word-for-word excerpt from the transcript of that interview. Time, you were harshly critical of what you called the weaponization of the justice system under Biden. You recently signed memos. Well, sure, but you wouldn't be, if this were Biden, well, first of all, he wouldn't do an interview because he was grossly incompetent. We spoke to him last year, Mr. President. Huh? We spoke to him a year ago. How did he do? You can read the interview yourself. Not too good. I did read the interview. He didn't do well. Well, I didn't read the interview, but I know from reading your interview, he did better than you're doing. In the span of maybe 30 seconds, Trump claims that Biden would never do the same interview, finds out Biden did do the same interview, asks how Biden did in that interview, claims he saw the interview he didn't know Biden did, and says Biden did badly in the interview he said Biden never would do. No wonder we don't have any trade deals with other countries yet. Every interview with Trump sounds like a vaudeville routine. Mr. President, who's on first? What? No, he's on second, and he's doing very poorly there, I can tell you. I can tell you that much, he does not love second. Throughout the course of this insane interview, Trump claims repeatedly that he's not aware of what his own administration is doing. When asked about masked agents disappearing a student for her political opinions, Trump says, I'm not aware of the particular event. When informed that the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 against him in the case of Abrego Garcia. He says, "That's not what my people told me." When asked if he would comply with the orders to return Abrego Garcia, he says, "I don't make that decision." At one point, he even told reporters he had nothing to do with it.
Mr. President, if the court holds you in contempt, will you take steps to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States and put him in front of a judge?
Well, I'm not involved in it.
You're not? Then let me ask you the same question my manager at Pizza Bella asked me when I was 17 and he caught me out back taking a smoke break when I was supposed to be waiting on tables. What the do you do here? For a decade, that has been the tell that Trump knows he's losing the public on something, suddenly claiming he has nothing to do with it. Except now, he's losing the public on everything, from the economy to tariffs to government cuts to inflation to immigration. Next time a reporter asks Trump, who in this country still thinks you're doing a good job, he's going to say,
I can't tell you. It doesn't matter who they is.
This has been A Closer Look.